Hey friends, I wanted to update here on YouTube because so many of you have reached out to me through this medium. Now I do have an account on Instagram and IGTV, which I have used a little bit, but have realized that I really don't believe in redundant content on two different mediums. So I will still be using YouTube for most of my instructional content, videos like I've posted before in regards to misidentification between two types. But that there will be additional content if you follow me on Instagram. My handle there is Enneagram Girl. It's Enneagram.girl, sorry. And the content there will just be additional content, maybe even putting relational dynamics videos on IGTV there, or I don't know if any of you have followed there and seen, sometimes I'll post what I call car thoughts, which are really just conversations about Enneagram that come up between my husband and I. In regards to ideas for videos or just some musings about the Enneagram. I'm sure a lot of you can relate to that. I feel like a lot of people I talk to or have consultations with have their own little community of people who are trying to grow through the Enneagram, and sometimes that's for good, sometimes it's not. But I wanted to update here on YouTube and address a video that I actually posted on IGTV before I made that decision about the differentiation between what videos would go where, on the misidentification between Enneagram 6 and Enneagram 4. So really quick, I'm going to put that video here as well, an original video that has the same content. Really one of the main differences we see when we look at 6 and 4 is that thinking, feeling disconnect. And the fact that 6 predominantly is a future-focused head type and 4 is a past-focused heart type. What that looks like in real life is that 4 deals a little bit more with regret and discontent. 6 deals more with anxiety about the future and planning or hyper-planning. One of the similarities that we see between the two, which often causes people to misidentify, is general reactivity. What that means is the tendency to need to respond to stimuli quickly and sometimes rashly. 4, 6, and 8 are our reactive types, if that gives you a picture of what that looks like. Another thing that I feel like is really important to look at between these types is their tendency or proclivity towards rebellious, sort of that rebellious label. But there the similarities cease because their motivations for this are so different. So when we look at a 6 who might have a rebellious style or adhere to a rebellious subculture, a lot of times people will look at that person and be like, oh, you must be a 4. But let's look closely at why they're doing what they're doing. If a person is engaging in a subculture that identifies as rebellious, especially in our current trend culture of thinking the contrary is popular, we need to realize that 6s often adhere to those subcultures as a way to belong, not a way to feel different. If someone adheres to like punk rock or a vintage projection or identity or goth or anything that is being involved in something where they're surrounded with other people who dress like that too, or listen to that music or read those books. That is something that's more prone to 6 because of that desire to find security in something larger than the self. So a lot of times when we look at people who adhere to one of those subcultures or styles, it's actually a 6 thing. 4s, on the other hand, tend to feel really uncomfortable when they have people around them that might look the same, especially because 4 is image focused, like all heart types are. They would feel a little more uncomfortable with feeling similar to other people because it threatens their idea of where their identity lies and where their value lies. So a 4 would probably be, in my experience, more of an understated kind of different, more of a different that you can't put your finger on, that isn't like very apparent right off why they're different. And again, their motivation for projecting that different image is one that's based in the heart center and based in identity and that feeling of, I'm broken, there's something wrong with me. Not that feeling of wanting to unite over differentness. That's more of a 6. concept. One of the huge things that we see a lot with people misidentifying between 6 and 4 is this problem that people have with thinking if you're creative, you must be an Enneagram 4. That is a lie. We could go 1 through 9 and talk about the proclivity towards creativity in that type, or the potential for it and what that would look like. So just because you're creative, that does not mean you're a 4. Actually, I know a lot of very creative 6s, a lot of 6s who make their work creating. The other thing to always keep in mind is instincts. So it is becoming more and more, in my opinion, that instinctual variation is almost the forefront thing that we should be looking at, even before core type, and realizing that when the instincts are applied to our core type, it can look really different. So when we look at someone who is a social first 4, they're going to look a lot different than the more withdrawn SP first 4. So I would say always look at instincts. I have those infographics on the Enneagram Girl blog if you want to check them out. They're really helpful. They're based on the work of Claudio Naranjo. And in my opinion, he has the best descriptions of the core type instinct specific combinations. So check that out. And also check me out on Instagram. I'm going to be posting additional content there in addition to the more meaty videos here on YouTube. Thanks so much for following along, and feel free to reach out as always via email or here in the comments.